Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another tropical forecast here by Asian Weather Forecast. In this video, we're now going to be talking about 97 and 98L here that are now in the tropical Atlantic here. 98L just became official not too long ago, about 90 minutes ago, something like that. And now we have tracks and even intensity on this as well. So we're going to be talking about the cone timing, where these storms could possibly go based on what we have now, looking at the conditions and everything for both of the disturbances. Also looking at when can they be named, if they get named, and what strength could they get to for max speed, and where will they hit the hardest. So we're going to be looking at all this in today's video. Obviously, not all this information is going to be 100% accurate, as it's going to continue to really change every single update. So this won't be 100%. Everything we see now, these tracks, everything will change, I bet you, as early as 11 p.m. So really watching what we have now so far. Before we get in the video, please subscribe if you're new and hit the post notification icon so you get notified as soon as I do another tropical forecast. Without further ado, let's get in this tropical video. So here's a look now at the National Hurricane Center. As you see now, Invest 98L is now under a high risk for or high potential for developing in the next 5 days. As you see, they're high risk for the next 5 days at a 70% chance. So very well likely could form in the next 5 days. So they also updated this to a 30% chance for the next 48 hours. I think 30% chance for the next 48 hours is a little too low. I think this should be at least a 50% chance for the next 48 hours based on what it looks like right now. This storm looks very organized here. And then here's the Invest 97L still here at a 20 and a 50 chance here for developing here in the next 5 days. A 20% chance 48 hours and also a 50% chance the next 5 days. So as you see, these storms are kind of right after each other. So then we got 97L and we got 98L. Obviously 98L now, cone has kind of moved a little bit more to the north. We all saw how it's kind of more of a western arrow. Now it's also shifting kind of west northwest for potential development. So that could bring some concerns maybe for these areas here to move in. So Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Cuba, even the Lesser Antilles, you guys can very well possibly see a landfall. And then here with 97L there with a 50% chance in the next 5 days, it can form as early as here or as late as there. So a big area here, but here to a little more to a little bit closer. I think this could very well form this general square here in this inner part there. But that's the National Hurricane Center. Let's go and take a look at these storms on satellite imagery, see how organized or disorganized they have gotten. I definitely want to show Invest 98L first, because look at this storm. It's really, or look at this system. It's gone a lot of organized. Look at that. Definitely we have a closed low pressure system. Most definitely it is an LLC. So as you see, look at that. Look at that blow up convection right there, the center of the system right there. Look at that. We even see pinks and even whites. So this is actually looking pretty good. I believe we got some banding here as well. So this is also looking pretty good. The low pressure, this is looking very good for an Invest. Keep in mind, this is an Invest, not a tropical storm or depression. It's looking very good for a tropical, an Invest, sorry. As you see, kind of this is going down a little bit in, it's going down a little bit now in convection, but still looking pretty impressive here. But wow, this is looking pretty darn good for an Invest here. I think this could be named by the next 48 hours, but for sure, maybe even by the next 36 hours. Really watching this very closely here. Let's go and check out now True Color zoomed out here so we can actually see this on True Color satellite imagery. So this is earlier today. As you see, there it is right there. It looked decent today. Let's just say that. But it's definitely improved a lot more as earlier today. As you see, look at earlier today. Very little convection. Look how it just blew up right as nightfall. And look at this. We got some pretty darn good banding in my opinion. As you see, look at that. Looking pretty good in my opinion. Look at that low pressure right there. I think this is definitely looking pretty good for an Invest. Really darn good right there. I think this is definitely going to need an increase at 11 o'clock for if not even 8 o'clock for the next 48 hours. I think it's definitely going to go at least to a medium probability here, whether it's a 40 or 50% chance here. But let's go and check out satellite imagery here as well for now Invest 97L. As you see, it's now going over and past the Lesser Antilles here. As you see, it definitely has some good amount of convection trying to kind of in the center right there. I think this could very well possibly be a new trying to develop center. It could be not, but I've seen this multiple times here, and maybe it's trying to wrap around to the point where it closes. But at this point, it's really open, really disorganized, and look at that. I think this could possibly be a incoming, maybe trying to develop low pressure system here. You can just very well see that recent blow up. So since it's so recent, you can't really say much. But look at that, it's kind of been there, popped up kind of halfway through, and then it's kind of just increased in size there and looking better. But as you see, this is definitely not as organized as 98L, which is why it is at a higher probability. But I think it is trying to wrap around. It could very well be trying to get some convection and close this portion off. But we'll just see how this goes. Maybe it's not even a new trying to develop low pressure. Maybe it's just a phase here. But there's possibly some signs here this could possibly become something pretty interesting here in my opinion. But I'm going to keep a close eye on 97L here. So here's a look now at the SST temperatures here for the Western Atlantic. As you see, this is where 97L is currently right now, going over some warmer waters here, 29 degrees Celsius. Expected. Honestly, guys, it's going to change so much today that some models are going like that. Some are still showing possibly like that, which I don't see. Some are still going to the panhandle, which I could see the panhandle. And then now we're even going to Louisiana. So we honestly have a super large cone anywhere in the Gulf, anywhere. Like this whole area right here can see a landfall from 97 out. It really can at this point. It's like almost the whole coast for the Gulf. So it's really unlikely to have one specific cone in mind. I think we have a ton in mind. So I can't really tell you, but really, if it's supposed to go in the Gulf, it's going to go in the Gulf 100%. It kind of matters because we have up to 32 degrees Celsius here or 29 degrees Celsius here. That can be a big difference, but really extremely warm in the Gulf. So let's say it becomes a tropical storm. Let's say it does right here. I think it definitely has time to become something bigger if it comes in the Gulf there. Now we got to watch as well 98L way up there in the tropical Atlantic and MDR. As you see, this is actually the projected path. We actually have a way better idea of what 98L can do, even though it's further out. We actually have a lot more models agreeing what we are seeing. Possibly this system could go very well into the Western Atlantic and possibly head into like an Irma track. We can very well see an Irma track. I'm not saying strength, but I think 98L could very well be over a hurricane. I think there's a lot of confidence in that, but some models show actually avoiding Hispaniola and then possibly hitting the Florida area. And then we have one or two actually showing this going up there into Louisiana, Mississippi. So for 98L, I think there's a huge variety of areas that can have a landfall. I think it's anywhere from here, really, that can see a landfall. So I think it's definitely a lot smaller than 97L. You think 97L is way closer, don't you think? Well, so it really just depends on the ridge, depends on how much it strengthens. Really, 97L is a lot more unpredictable than 98L. They can go anywhere, really. But we have some really warm waters. If 98L does go anywhere in this region here, let's say it goes here or something like that, it has some really warm waters to go to. So conditions are definitely favorable to withstand a hurricane and tropical system. Let's go and check out now the early track cycle here. Tracks, as you see, this is where the storm is right now, all the way up in the middle of MDR, and this is where 97L is right here. So definitely has gapped a lot more spaces. 97L is definitely really going a lot faster. It's definitely made a bigger gap between these disturbances. But as you see, expected to possibly be a lot slower moving than 97L. Like 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. Maybe you can slow down a lot more. So really a pretty decent speed here. So it's not going too fast. So it actually has a better chance to be stronger. But as you see, going up possibly either north or actually going straight over the areas of the Western and Windward Islands. So this is all we have right now. So if you kind of project this, it kind of projects where this will possibly go. It's possibly going to possibly affect Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Bahamas, and then possibly even Florida. So this is obviously an early cycle track, so you can't really say much here. But let's go and check out now a longer track for obviously 98L. So this is actually what we have here for Invest 98L longer tracks, GEFS. And as you see, the black line is kind of the average out of where this could possibly go. And as you see, this actually takes it all the way up into the Eastern Gulf, and actually kind of doing an Irma, almost doing an Irma. Obviously, Irma went up the spine of Florida, but Irma kind of went over Cuba and hit the Naples area. But this is kind of expected to kind of, based on the black line, get up to 982 millibars. And GEFS tracks have a history of underreacting storms. So, it's something to keep in mind. If they show 982 at the beginning, then if they tend to or if they have a history of underhyping storms, then could this actually be lower than 982? That's exactly what we're watching. But I really don't think this black line's gonna occur. I really don't think so. I think it's gonna do more of a Eastern Florida threat, really, where it actually does like something like this possibly. This is where I'm keeping in mind, like something like that. Just whatever the black line has, but more east. That's kind of what I'm saying. But as you see, look at this. We have actually a lot of some very strong tracks here. Look at this. One model forecast this to get below 970 millibars. One gets it up to below 990 millibars before even passing Puerto Rico. One even has us possibly getting below 950 millibars before striking Miami. Based on that, look at that. Look at that pink line. That means it's below 950. As you see, look at the little colors here. That's what that means. But wow, we have a lot of models getting this below 980 millibars, a lot over Cuba, all that. So really keeping in mind that if the GEFS tends to underreact storms that are just becoming invest, if they're showing below a 950 millibars already when it just became an invest less than 2 hours ago, that's something they really keep in mind. Like, wow, 950 millibars? Are you kidding me? I guess because they actually see that conditions are actually favorable for this to be a monster storm. I'm not saying 950 is possible, but I'm saying it's also not impossible, really. I mean, this could very well become a big storm. It could really become a big storm here. Here's the Invest 98L tracks. As you see, they're blocking a lot better than they did with 97L. All showing getting tropical storm below before the next 24 hours. So I think this could possibly be named rather soon. Way before 36 hours, way before 48 hours, which is why I'm saying the National Hurricane Center should definitely put at least a medium chance for development in the next 48 hours for 98L. Look, this, all three show this getting tropical storm before 24 hours or right at 24 hours. And if they start skyrocketing up to a hurricane, could be a hurricane based on this before the next 3 days. And then one even gets it to a category 2. This is a long track storm, so it's plenty of time to really blow up. The fact that all three out of 3 models show this getting to a hurricane, something very interesting, because when we have invest becoming storms, invest just becoming invest, tracks or intensity guidance tend to like kind of lower the probability, really. But now that it's skyrocketing like that, not one, not two, but all the models, it's something to keep in mind. I know there's only 3 models. The more models, the less the probability of that. But it's really something to keep in mind here. So we'll see how this goes. So this is now an early track here as well for Invest 97L. As you see, it kind of does have going more to the south here, possibly going more towards now Central America, including Mexico here, other areas here near, I believe, Belize. Just some big threats here, maybe for the Central America area, including the Cancun area as well, Yucatan Peninsula. So that's something to definitely keep in mind here. But as you see, kind of this track has gone maybe lean towards more of a Western Gulf storm. I believe there's one model here, the NGIXI, that's possibly leading for a Florida system. This thing's currently at 25 knots, so I believe 30 miles an hour. So definitely not close to tropical storm yet. It still needs a good bit to go. Let's just say that. But honestly, I think this will change many times. I wouldn't say this is going to happen. I wouldn't say this is not going to happen. Really, it's a big book to really look at. Like, there's so many possibilities here. So many game. Like, if you guys watch NFL, a lot of potential gameplays here, or a lot of plays we can possibly do in the game book. So I think this is definitely, as of now, possible. I just wouldn't rely on this 100% as they've changed so many times. But definitely keep in mind, if this does stay weaker, the more it goes, the better the chances it goes to the Western Gulf. So really keeping this in mind as well. So as you see here, another 97L GEPS track now showing this possibly going into the Panhandle. Like I said, So many outcomes. I mean, this one shows the Panhandle, and the other one shows all the way up to Central America. So very many possibilities here. I'm not gonna say exactly which one I think is more likely, but I see a lot of them here are showing possibly the Mississippi, Alabama, maybe Florida Panhandle border. I think majority of them showing and getting up to Florida Alabama border, and then some getting it to possibly Naples or Tampa Bay. But you see the black line is kind of the average out of all these models, and it shows it getting up to possibly 997 millibars in striking areas over the Apalachicola area in Big Bend, Florida. So if you live in Florida and all that, I wouldn't worry, I wouldn't panic, I wouldn't do anything yet. We're just gonna watch and see exactly what happens here, because it does show getting below 980 millibars for some of the models here. So keep it in mind. Really keep this in mind, but obviously we'll have to get a lot closer. 97L has been nothing but really pretty unpredictable. Track wise, it changed a lot. It's kind of like Isaias, but a little less stressful. But I think 98L definitely has a better possibility here and a better guarantee or something like that. Let's check out now the intensity guidance here for 97L. As you see, we have 2 models. 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of 6 models, we have 1. Yeah, that's 6. Wait, that's 5. Why no? That's actually 6 models. Yeah, that's 6. Out of 6, we have 2 staying this had been a tropical depression for a while, and only one stays at tropical depression for the rest of its life, basically. But we have this becoming tropical storm as early the next 36 hours or as late as the next 72 hours. So pretty big gap. Just depends if it slows down. The reason why this is not organized now is because it's moving so fast. I believe 28 miles an hour or something like that. Isaias was actually moving faster at some point, but obviously Isaias got a hold of itself and slowed down, which is why it only became a category 1. It kind of relived again back to a category 1 and started really becoming a big threat right before the Carolina landfall, which is why that happened. But if it wasn't moving so fast, it could have been way bigger. But as you see, it could be a hurricane next 84 hours, could be a hurricane next 100 hours. A lot of people are thinking this won't be a hurricane. I think there's a possibility. I really think, because the only issue is the speed of this storm. That's the only threat. If it slows down, could become a hurricane, and that's why we have so many possibilities. If it becomes a hurricane before passing the Yucatan Peninsula, it will hit Florida, or Eastern Gulf. If it stays at a tropical storm or even tropical depression before the Yucatan Peninsula, it will go into the Western Gulf and maybe blow up there. So Texas all the way to Florida really has some possibilities here, but really depends on the intensity and speed. But we're gonna get a better look at this once we get a lot closer. So here's now we're gonna be starting to look at the conditions here. As you see here, we're gonna be seeing a lot of moisture between 98 and 97L. As you see, 98L has a lot more moisture compared to 97L. So I think 98L definitely has a better chance here. As you see, there's a little bit of dryer that's confronting this 97L, but as you see, we have all this dryer behind 98L. So definitely, it's a very good possibility that this dryer does not affect it whatsoever here. And as you see, this definitely blows up a lot more based on the GFS here, and then it takes it up into the Gulf of Mexico. Let's check out shear. Shear actually might be less of a threat actually than this dry air, I'm not gonna lie. Look at this MDR all the way to Panama, to Africa. We have basically no shear. Basically no shear. We have a lot of spots that have less than 10 knots, which in August in a hyperactive season could do a lot of damage here. Let's now move forward there. As you see, you're going to be seeing a lot less shear. As you see, this shear is going to actually open up a window for the Hispaniola area and even portions of the MDR. So, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, even Haiti, all those areas, you guys are not out of the picture here, because look at how all this shear just opens up this whole area. This is perfect for this storm to go anywhere up to Florida, or what 97L did, but most likely into the Hispaniola area. And that's going to open up a lot of space. And look at that, a huge open window for the Gulf. So really some big concerns here, because conditions could be pretty favorable for these storms. Let's check out the CMC model on MLSP here. CMC has been fairly actually the most accurate model on average this year. Not every year, but this year. So I really like looking at the CMC now. But let's check out what they have in the next 36 hours. 1,011 millibars. I think CMC is definitely underestimating 98O as of now for the next coming days. I think they're showing it forming a lot later than it should. But there it is, 1,009 millibars there in 97L, and there's 98L starting to get its act together. As you see, it's definitely getting its act together up to 1,004 millibars in the next 96 hours. Definitely getting its act together for sure, as it could be definitely kicking out that dryer a lot. There's 97L there. And look at what the CMC shows here, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Look what the CMC shows. Possibly avoiding Puerto Rico, possibly avoiding Dominican Republic, possibly avoiding Haiti, which means it's going to be avoiding land, which means it has a better chance to develop. Obviously, Irma went through these areas, I believe, and then did that. That's kind of what Irma did. But this could possibly do an Irma-like track, but just kind of more to the north, and could be something like this. This could be like a Irma, but kind of turning the opposite direction, because Irma went like this. This is what Irma did. But obviously, definitely some concerns, but there it is. CMC shows it's possibly affecting possibly Cancun at 1,003 millibars there, so that's something to really watch there. And policy shows it really strengthening, but look at the CMC showing a massive storm, 974 millibars over Q. That's a category 2 at least, ladies and gentlemen. Then it shows a weakening a little bit because it's over land, but blows up because the eastern Gulf is just absolutely mental for temperatures and SSTs and all that. And look at that, striking possibly the Pensacola area at 977 millibars. I think this is actually the 12Z, so it's actually not fully updated, but something to really keep in mind. Something to really keep in mind. We cannot rule out the possibility, which is why I said anywhere from Louisiana to eastern Florida coast, we can have a landfall from 98L. Check out now NavGEM. Check out the new NavGEM. Actually, this is actually the new model. This is actually the 12Z here. This is new. As you see here, there it is, 1,007 millibars, 1,007 millibars, both the same. It's both same strength. But look, it kind of shows the 97L actually blowing up before at 998 millibars, and then has 98L at 1,001 millibars. So it's kind of opposite of what CMC and other models show. But look at this. They actually look what this. Look what the NavGEM is showing. Look at kind of two potential name storms at the same time. Obviously, pretty close to each other. Obviously, as you see, other models were kind of showing that, but now NavGEM showing this, and then NavGEM showing NavGEM is actually showing way north of what CMC is showing. I think this is way too north actually. And then look, completely avoids these two systems. Possibly avoid Florida. These two systems possibly avoid Florida. So it's kind of like, all right, you go there, and you go there. So Florida's completely safe compared to the according to the NavGEM. Two systems that both have a chance to hit Florida completely just miss. I mean, that's what NavGEM is showing, ladies and gentlemen. So that's that. But I think the NavGEM is onto something, possibly for 97L, maybe affecting the Mississippi-Alabama border. But obviously, it's too far to say exactly strength-wise and exactly location still. So NavGEM, I think NavGEM's I don't think NavGEM's the best for this, really. Check out the icon model shows here. The next 72 hours, definitely showing these storms strengthening. But look at the icon showing. It's very interesting. The latest model showed 98L strengthening a lot more than a lot faster. So there's 97L, 1,006 millibars, and there's 98L, could be Laura soon, 998 millibars, really strengthening a lot here at 993. That could be some big concerns here. That could be some big concerns, because that's exactly what CMC is showing, that location. All the way up to the NavGEM was all the way up here. CMC was kind of down here, and now Icon's kind of right here. So this is kind of a general good. We kind of have a general good idea, and this could possibly lead up to this. So definitely some concerns, and this could possibly lead up to maybe this. So we could possibly have two U.S. landfalls, two named storm landfalls for the U.S. So guys, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and bye guys.